So let's talk about another pro-Israel shill that you encountered, Aaron. You were in a restaurant with Van Jones, you just said, and you were on the quiet car with Senator Chris Coons.
Senator, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but when I call for a ceasefire
Who are
in Gaza,
you?
I'm a journalist. My name's Aaron Mate. When I call for a ceasefire in Gaza, you have 4,600 children killed.
This is
46. I know it's a quiet car.
This
I
is a
apologize
quiet
for
car.
abusing it. I understand, but children are dying. Children are dying, sir. More than
You're speaking in a very quiet way.
I was. I
call for a ceasefire.
was actually trying to respect the rules.
U.S. weapons are killing kids in Gaza.
Who are you?
My name is Aaron Mate. I'm a
Nice
journalist.
to meet you, Aaron.
Likewise.
Please stop talking to me.
I'm sorry, sir. It's of dire importance. More than 11,000 civilians, as we're
Who are
talking,
you?
being killed. I'm a journalist with
For
the Grayzone.
what's the Grayzone?
It's
What is
a
the Grayzone?
U.S.-based news website.
I want to do like a dubstep remix of him saying that.
And right now, with our support,
Please
kids are
stop.
being killed. I'm sorry. With our
Please
weapons,
stop.
I'm asking you to explain why not call for a
Aaron,
ceasefire.
You're bothering me and everyone else around.
Kids in Gaza are being massacred. I'm asking you,
Aaron.
please explain why not call for a
Aaron.
ceasefire.
Stop. Sir, could I please have some help here?
So, I mean, most people watching this are familiar with the exchange. It was pretty impressive. You went on for another 2 minutes, just pushing him and pushing him. You actually got a statement out of him where he supports what Israel's doing.
Yeah.
And then,
It's interesting. Notice how hard he's trying not to answer the question. So he's asking me questions. Who are you? Who do you work for? Then he asked me, how do you get this seat? I paid for that seat. It was fate, Senator Coons. I'm sorry, but we literally were sitting across from each other. And it takes him a long time before he finally does give me some kind of answer where he says, I support Israel's right to defend itself, and Hamas killed 1,400 civilians. I had to correct him on that because the figure is actually 1,200, and it wasn't even all civilians. But anyway, and just look how hostile he is towards someone trying to ask him about his own position. If that's your position, you should be able to defend it and not try to avoid it and try to he even threatens to have me thrown off the train in that clip. He says, I'll have you thrown off this train, as if he's some kind of Amtrak conductor on top of being a senator. But he did eventually have me thrown off the train because after our exchange, I tweeted that clip. It went viral. And then I had moved seats, because I was forced to. And when he saw me again, soon after that is when I got kicked off. So I would bet anything that him just seeing me after seeing that our clip had gone viral, which I'm sure he saw, that's when he asked for them to kick me off the train, and they complied.
he just had you punished, and then it's a very morally weak position that he's in. The senators don't expect to have to be able to be willing to explain themselves. Traditionally in Congress, you just kind of vote for anything that AIPAC brings down the pike.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really have to think about it or explain yourself. And now for the first time, they're being confronted everywhere. Like Jack Reed, chair of the Armed Services Committee, was confronted twice at the Politico Defense Conference. Members of Congress, Justin Trudeau, is confronted twice in Vancouver and in a mosque, I believe, in Toronto. You're seeing it all across the West, and they don't like it. They have this aura of inviolability that you really penetrated there. And in no way did you violate the rules of Amtrak. According to the rules, you have to speak in a subdued voice in the quiet car.
Exactly.
It was amazing. I mean, you never rose above the quiet car, you never rose to an unacceptable tone. You've kept within the rules all along.
But he didn't. He was a lot louder than me, I think. And while claiming also that I'm disturbing everyone around him, which is just such a lie. I mean, nobody was disturbed. People who could see us were watching. They were enthralled at this exchange, but nobody was disturbed. And he was disturbed because he doesn't want to be questioned about supporting mass murder, including mass murder of kids.
Well, what's disturbing, and that's something I've experienced, is sleeping under Israel's bombs in Gaza and never knowing if your roof is going to collapse on your head and kill you and your whole family. And just the sound of it is so terrifying, along with the sound of the drone, the ever-present drone that's watching you. So Chris Coons needs to know that there are no quiet cars in Gaza. And
Exactly.
I think everyone appreciates that you brought that, just some sense of discomfort to him. Everyone who supports this needs to be made to feel uncomfortable. And that's what you did. And you're taking off your car, but you made it in time to Tim Pool's compound.
I did make it down to Tim Pool's compound. Yes, that was my destination. And yeah, and honestly, my aim was not to make him feel uncomfortable, although that was the result. My aim was to get him to answer for his own policy. And I'm a journalist. He's a senator. Even if I weren't a journalist, obviously I had just as much a right to ask him. But I mean, he's supporting this policy. He should be able to at least answer for it.
And Chris Coons, I mean, more than supporting this policy, he's Biden's proxy in Delaware. Like, he is Biden's underling.
Yeah.
He is, more than any senator, close to President Joe Biden, and whatever Biden does, Coons supports.
Yep.
And he also was extremely aggressive in supporting the Ukraine proxy war. He's just another pro-war Democrat in a deeply undemocratic Democratic Party. So that, I think, I don't know if you want to add anything else. I mean, you were smeared pretty relentlessly in mainstream media for doing that.
Oh yeah, well, it's so funny. It's like for all the partisanship you see on Fox News and the right-wing media, everyone who covered this from the right wing closed ranks around defending Chris Coons and attacking me. So, for example, here is Fox News. Look at this headline. It's so funny. Democratic senator confronted by left-wing reporter on Amtrak. You are bothering me. Senator Chris Coons tells man to stop badgering him on Amtrak, or I'm going to have you thrown off this train. Now, is there anything missing from this headline that might be relevant to the story? It's the fact that I was questioning him about his Gaza policy. The way this headline is written, it sounds like I just came up to him and started bothering him like a pest. When really I was trying to question about his policy. But Fox News can't even bring itself to mention the topic we were discussing, which is the U.S.-backed Israeli mass murder campaign in Gaza. So that's them closing ranks to defend Chris Coons, and the article goes on. It's along those themes. And then another example is the New York Post, which said this. It said, oh, wait, no, that's not that. Wait a second. 1 second. Sorry. Let me get that up. The New York Post basically said that I accosted.
It explicitly said that you accosted him, like you grabbed him by the arm and threw him against a wall in the cafe car. And sir,
there it is. Democratic Senator Chris Coons accosted by far left journalist on Amtrak. Again, they're missing the topic under discussion, which is Gaza. And then it has a quote, I'm going to have you thrown off this train. So this actually headline makes it sound as if I'm the one who said to him, I'm going to have you thrown off this train, because it sounds like I'm accosting him and saying that. And really, that's
like
what he said to me.
You're some Antifa hooligan.
Yeah. And again, they, omit the topic we were discussing, which is Gaza. And the New York Post goes on to repeat lies about the Grayzone. They say that we deny chemical attacks in Syria. No, actually, we report on leaked documents from the OPCW showing that there was a cover-up of an investigation in Syria, and that investigation falsely implicated Syria in a chemical attack. And it also says that we deny repression of the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. Actually, we report on the ridiculous claims pushed by state-funded right-wing bigots that China's committing genocide in Xinjiang, which nobody
in order
has
to
refuted.
justify sanctions and a new Cold War.
Yeah, exactly. And a good illustration of how important that reporting is because right now we're backing an actual genocide inside of Gaza. And all these people who claim to care about the plight of Uyghurs in Xinjiang, are any of them calling this a genocide? Even though, unlike in China, Israel is actually bombing people, murdering people, attacking hospitals, committing what an actual genocide is. And part of the point is of the Grayzone's reporting is, like, if you're going to call what China's doing in Xinjiang genocide, you're cheapening that term. You can call it repression if you want, and we've quoted people who call it repression, but that's not genocide. And the New York Post didn't have the intellectual honesty to understand that distinction. And so anyway, that's what we got. And here's one more clip. This is Fox and Friends. Also, basically accusing me of questionable journalistic tactics, which is funny because right now they have a Fox News reporter embedded with Israeli forces and their assault on Gaza. And as you pointed out before, Max, parroting their lies about Al-Shifa Hospital. So that sounds like a questionable journalistic tactic to me. But anyway, this is how Fox News reported it. And watch how giddy they are that I got kicked off the train.
Definitely a questionable journalistic tactic there, and Coons eventually appeared to get.
Alex, I'm curious.
Did they throw him off the train?
Yeah.
30 minutes later, they got to Philadelphia at the next stop.
Yeah, he works for a controversial news outlet, one that is criticized for putting up some pro-Russia propaganda and whatnot. So his tactics were never going to be orthodox. Coons' office did eventually put out a statement saying that they condemn the loss of life for any civilians, but that the focus has to be on Hamas, something that more establishment Democrats, Republicans at large have.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
putting up some pro-Russian propaganda, like Fox News covers half of what we do on Ukraine.
Yeah, and also during Russiagate, I was on Fox News pretty regularly, so I don't know what they're talking about. Like all of a sudden now that like we've continued our tradition of reporting accurately about Israel, now all of a sudden we're pro-Russia and we're non-grata, and they're cheering me being thrown off the train. And again, that style of speaking, it's so lazy. They've been criticized for putting up some pro-Russia propaganda.
Some say.
It's such a lazy innuendo, and it's the aim of it is to taint everything we do and make it so you don't have to take anything that we say seriously. Don't try to actually interrogate our actual views and evidence. It's such a lazy smear tactics, and everybody does it. It's whether it's Fox News or MSNBC.
Well, everyone's gone back to their 2003 battle stations. I feel like we're in the so-called war on terror all over again. You turn on Fox News and it's just like I'm having flashbacks. I'm wondering when like Alan Colmes is going to materialize. It's just, and it's
I believe he passed away, so he probably won't. Yeah, but yeah,
he was a decent man.
He was.
And no one else on Fox at this point is. I wonder. I mean, it would seem like impossible for Tucker to even exist there at this point, since he's taking a somewhat critical line.
Yeah, no way.